The sun was setting low over the Wyoming plains, painting the sky in soft gold and crimson. Jack Carter, a quiet widower and rancher, stood by the corral, wiping the sweat from his brow. His life had been one of solitude since his wife, Sarah, passed away 4 years earlier. His 2 daughters, Lucy and June, were his entire world. They were his reason to rise at dawn, his reason to work until the stars came out. But loneliness had a way of echoing through even the noisiest days. That evening, Jack was fixing a fence post when he heard his daughters calling out from the far trail. "Pa, you gotta see this." Lucy's voice carried a tone of excitement he hadn't heard in a while. He turned, squinting against the sunset glare, and saw them coming, riding fast on their ponies. Between them, sitting weakly behind Lucy, was a woman Jack had never seen before. Her clothes were torn, her hair long and dark as midnight, her skin tanned from the desert sun. Jack dropped his hammer and rushed forward as the horses came to a stop. The woman nearly fell when Lucy dismounted. "Pa," Lucy said breathlessly, "we found her by the creek. She was hurt real bad." Jack's gaze softened immediately. The woman looked half-conscious, her arm covered in blood and dirt, her breathing shallow. "Bring her inside," he said without hesitation. Now. Inside the old farmhouse, the air smelled of herbs and wood smoke. June fetched clean water while Lucy grabbed blankets. Jack carefully laid the woman on the couch and started tending to her wound. "You're safe here," he said softly, not knowing if she understood English. But her eyes, deep brown and full of pain, met his for a fleeting second. She nodded faintly. By the time night settled, the woman was sleeping soundly. Jack sat nearby, watching the flicker of the lamplight on her face. She was young, maybe in her 20s, and though clearly Apache, she carried herself with quiet strength, even in her weakness. He couldn't help but wonder what had happened to her out there in the wild. The next morning, when she woke, Lucy was there with breakfast. "Pa says you need to eat," she said kindly. The woman sat up slowly, confusion in her eyes. "My name is Naya," she whispered. Her voice was soft but steady. "Naya," Jack repeated. "You're safe here. You're welcome to stay as long as you need." Over the next few days, Naya began to heal. She spoke little, mostly through nods or gestures, but the girls adored her. She helped them gather herbs, taught them how to weave flowers into their hair, and even hummed old songs around the fire at night. For the first time in years, laughter filled Jack's home again. But not everyone in town shared Jack's kindness. One afternoon, when Jack went into town for supplies, Sheriff Howard pulled him aside. "You've got an Apache woman living under your roof, Jack?" he asked in a low, warning tone. Jack set his jaw. "She's hurt. My girls found her half dead. I ain't about to throw her out." The sheriff leaned closer. "Folks are talking. If you don't want trouble, you best send her back where she came from." Jack didn't respond. He simply turned and walked away. That night, as the girls slept, Jack found Naya sitting outside under the stars, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "You're worried," she said quietly, surprising him with her clear English. "People do not like my kind," Jack sighed. "People forget that kindness don't got a color or a tribe." He paused, studying her face. "You saved my girls' hearts. They laugh again because of you. That's worth more than what anyone says." She smiled faintly, her eyes softening. "Your daughters remind me of my little sister. She was taken years ago." There was a silence between them, broken only by the crackle of fire and the distant sound of coyotes. Days turned into weeks. Jack found himself drawn to Naya in ways he hadn't expected. She was quiet but strong, graceful yet fierce when she needed to be. One morning he caught her teaching June how to braid horse reins from leather strips. The sight made something stir in his chest, a feeling he thought he'd buried with Sarah. When Naya's strength returned, she told Jack she planned to leave soon. "Your home has been kind," she said, "but I cannot stay. People, they need me." Jack looked down, unsure of what to say. Before he could answer, Lucy ran up with tears in her eyes. "Pa, don't let her go. She's part of our family now." Naya knelt and hugged Lucy tightly. "You will always be my little sister," she whispered. But fate had other plans. The next morning before dawn, the ranch was surrounded by 3 armed men, local ranchers who'd heard the rumors. "We know she's here," one shouted. "Send the Apache out." Jack stepped out, shotgun in hand. "Ain't nobody taking her," he said firmly. The men glared. One lifted his rifle, but before he could fire, Naya walked out from behind Jack, her chin high. "If they want me, they'll have to face me," she said in a calm, steady voice. Her courage silenced them. The oldest man spat on the ground. "You're a fool, Carter." Then he turned and rode off. When the dust settled, Jack looked at her, really looked at her. "You could have let me handle that," he said. She shook her head. "You already have done enough. I am not afraid anymore." A week later, Naya decided to stay, not because she needed shelter, but because she found something she hadn't had in years: family. She became the girls' teacher, their guardian, and their friend. And slowly, Jack realized she had become more than that. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, he turned to her and said, "I thought I'd live my life alone." Naya smiled, her eyes glistening. "And now?" Jack took her hand gently. "Now I'm glad my girls found you." The wind carried the faint scent of sage and wildflowers as they stood there, two souls from different worlds, brought together by fate and the unspoken language of the heart. And from that day on, the lonely cowboy's home was never silent again.